Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Chutt joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. And coming up, we're going to be talking about a series of those chilly mornings on our doorstep, even by tomorrow morning, and then continuing as we go into the weekend. Just how cold? Well, as cold as the potential for frost. Yes, that cold, that frost potential is with us as we go into the weekend. And during this stretch, a lot of sunshine and clear skies at night, and that is accompanied by some dry conditions that will carry over into the weekend as well. As we track a lot of sunshine, highs back in the 60s, but again, these mornings are likely dipping well in the 40s and quite possibly even into the 30s looking ahead. So our current temperatures now quickly falling from the 60s into the 50s. And again, we have quite a bit of cooling that's yet to occur as we go through the night. We're dealt with some cloud cover returning this afternoon. It's clearing for the overnight hours, some ground clutter getting picked up on radar, but not tracking any precipitation. Again, those clouds clearing out for this evening. And now we'll deal with just clear skies as we go throughout the night. So little to no cloud cover in general as we go into the weekend. That, in addition to some lighter winds, is what will allow for these lows to drop off at night. Doesn't look like our winds completely calm tonight. Still likely a light wind, but nonetheless, when we lose that breeze that we had for today, a light wind in place tonight, tomorrow night, still allow these temperatures to really fall off into the mornings, into Thursday and Friday morning. You'll notice then for tomorrow, winds pick back up a little bit. There'll be a slight breeze, winds sustained close to 10, gusts up to 20 miles per hour, but not to the extent of today. Slight breeze Thursday, then winds overall look light on Friday. So the main story here near term is this. That being said, the series of these chilly mornings, low temperatures tonight are going to be getting awfully close, if not into the 30s. Now, frost, it could be possible. It would likely stay more isolated tonight. Most of us likely will avoid any frost for tomorrow morning, but is it possible in spots? Yes. Now, where it's going to be a little more widespread, but still scattered in nature, is Friday. So that's our best chance for that patchy frost. Is Friday morning. At that point, lows mid to upper 30s. Better odds that we're going to be dipping into the 30s across the area for Friday morning. Now, it's still not cold enough for widespread frost, but nonetheless, there can be more areas of frost Friday morning with respect to more of an isolated instance Thursday. Now, by Saturday, most of the region, if not all the region, likely avoids frost by Saturday morning, as lows will be back closer to 40, if not just in the 40s. And then I don't foresee any threat at all across the area by Sunday and Monday morning. Those mornings, those low temperatures are going to be back even mid to upper 40s. In general, it's still chilly going into early next week, but the coldest mornings that we do have looking ahead over the next 5 days is going to be likely the next 2 mornings, our best chance to dip into the 30s. Now, for the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, the last time that temperatures dropped below that 40-degree mark was May 9th. It's been over 150 days ago, the last time we dealt with temperatures this cold. And where we typically stand this time of the year in terms of dealing with temperatures below 40 degrees, well, typically we've seen at least one low below 40 at this point into the year. On average, September 24th for the season is our first low below 40 degrees. The latest was November 2nd on record for the Wheeling area back in 2021. The earliest, how about that, August 12th in 1930. But on average, we've typically seen that first low below 40. Again, did not occur at the end of September, likely to occur the next couple of days at the first half of October. So a little bit behind par, you could say, in terms of the first low below 40. Now, if you're wondering what about some freezing temperatures, that first low at or below 32 degrees on average, we see it October 13th. No 32 or below low in the forecast for us, so not anticipating to reach it by the average. Just like the first low below 40, that first low at or below 32, it's going to be likely past the average as well. The latest for the first freezing temperature the season was November 14th in 2022. So that's the number to beat if we want to see the latest first day of freezing temperatures. Again, not forecasted here near term, but typically we start to see it by the middle of October, but certainly at that point, late October, early November. Still some good odds yet the latter part of this month to see our first low at or below 32 degrees. The earliest first to freeze there was September 11th, 1924. Those earliest dates are quite some time ago for the Wheeling area. So we've had some pretty late here as of recent 2021, 2022. We've had some pretty recent stretches here where we did not see these cold mornings even until we got into November. But not the case this year, right? We're likely sneaking in that first low below 40. We'll see if we can sneak in our first low at or below freezing as well later on into the month. Again, no likely time coming up here over the next 10 days going through the middle of the month, but we'll see. Maybe we could sneak it in later on into the month. There is still potential for a little bit of a cool down, another shot of some cooler air moving in for the second half of this month. Maybe we'll get our first freezing temperature then. Shelly, thanks for the update. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it as always. Thank you so much. So our future cast as we go over the next couple of days, well, it's quiet across the area as we do extend into the next couple of days. We are not tracking much at all in terms of cloud cover. A lot of blue skies and sunshine Thursday into Friday. You notice the story then begins to change once we get into Saturday, and we'll start to see some more cloud cover spill into the area, likely even to the first half of Saturday, and still quite a bit of sunshine, but we'll start to mix with more cloud cover for the first half of the weekend. This is with a low pressure system that's going to be dropping south into the area. Does the system have enough moisture to produce some showers? We'll see. There is that potential for some showers for the second half of the weekend. Now, that being said, this is not likely turn into a washout or a repeat of what we had for yesterday. This system would not produce as much rain as what we had for yesterday. It's not a repeat of that. But again, we could sneak in some showers for the second half of the weekend. Overall, most of this weekend still likely ending up dry. High temperatures close to 70 Saturday. Upper 60s then on Sunday with the additional cloud cover and that possibility for some showers. Not set in stone yet, but that is just a possibility to keep in mind if you're making weekend plans that may have to contend with some showers. Again, I don't think it's enough rain to alter plans for. Again, it's not going to be a repeat of what we had for yesterday. We're not getting that much rain from this system. If we do manage to sneak in some showers, just something to keep in mind that we could deal with another shot of some showers for the second half of the weekend. Now, following that, it looks to be more the middle to latter part of next week would be the following round of some showers. And this is with another cool down. So temperatures will start to climb back up before that into the middle of next week. So a little bit of a cool down from Saturday into Sunday, but in order of a couple degrees. And then we warm right back in the 70s by Tuesday. We can then climb further in the 70s Wednesday. Notice no 80s in sight, but again, no freezing temperatures in sight as well. And once we get past the next two mornings, by Saturday morning and then on, these lows are likely to stretch in the 40s. So highs upper 60s, even towards the mid 70s. That's a lot of our temperatures for highs over the next 10 days, and lows, a lot of these days, with the exception of the next two mornings, are in the 40s. So not quite cold mornings, but a lot of more chilly mornings ahead, some cool afternoons. Overall, it's a pretty seasonable stretch of weather for a lot of the next 10 days. The normal low, upper 40s, normal high, mid upper 60s. It's fairly seasonable. Some days, trending a little bit above normal, right? But overall, it's a pretty seasonable stretch of weather that we have over the next 10 days. And still, for a lot of these days, we do likely end up dry. Again, we could sneak in some showers the latter part of Sunday. Again, for the latter part of next week, going into the latter part of this weekend into Sunday. And again, around middle to latter part of next week, some additional showers we'll be keeping an eye on. But that looks to be our two time periods where we could see some shower activity overall, not in the next 10 days. Still going to end up dry and fairly seasonable stretch of weather. But certainly the highlight here near term with these cold mornings, these lows dipping into the 30s, well below normal by an order of about 10 degrees below normal over the next two mornings. So be prepared. Don't get caught off guard as you step outside. Keep in mind those low temperatures this morning are held in the 50s and nowhere near that in the 30s. So it's going to be a big change. That's for sure. We haven't noticed these lows this cold in over 150 days back in May 9th, over 150 days ago. Last time we dealt with low temperatures into the 30s. Joe, good evening. Thanks for doing what you do. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you, as always, Joe and Shelly, for tuning into this edition of Nate at 8, and all of you who have tuned in. Thank you so much for joining, as always. I hope everyone had a wonderful day and soaked up more of that sunshine. And again, we have even more of it the next 2 days, likely a lot less cloud cover than what we even had today. No, I know we had some clouds spill back into the area with that northerly flow. Spilling back in off the lakes going into this afternoon, but we're likely spotting a lot more sunshine the next 2 days. So similar to what we had earlier into the day before those clouds rolled in. That's our future likely for the entirety of the daytime, Thursday into Friday. We're likely not dealing with much cloud cover the next 2 days before we see some more return for this weekend. Again, thanks as always for joining me for this edition of Nate at 8. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11 for the latest, and for that next edition of Nate at 8 as well. We, of course, have our high school football coming up for Friday evening. I believe we're able to have, I'm trying to think if we do Thursday Night Lights broadcast this week. I believe might be able to have our edition of Nate at 8 tomorrow evening. And of course, we got Friday evening high school football. But if we've got some high school football action tomorrow evening, of course, tune in and catch some high school football action. We'll certainly have a Friday evening. If not, well, we'll be right back here for that next edition of Nate at 8. Again, I appreciate it as always. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Don't forget, bundle up at least a little bit over the next couple of mornings. It's going to turn chilly on us. Let's try to stay warm. Until then, again, have a great night. I'll see you on the next edition of Nate at 8.